Yo, flirting is okay. Does flirting not lead to sex?
No.
Okay, so here's
Who are you?
You see me literally all
You're one
the-
person
dude,
in this world. There's
but
more
you just
people.
said that your friend's
Hold on.
wife flirts and
There
shit.
are also
Hold on.
I'm not gonna base it off just a couple of them.
I think majority
Let's
of the
dial
time
it back.
flirting doesn't lead to sex.
let's dial it
Okay.
back. So
She sounds crazy.
here's what the science says.
Alrighty, what up, you guys? I'm Bryson Smith.
And I'm Javin, and this is Etcetera. Woo! Yes!
There it is.
Oh, it's been a while, guys. It's been a wild trip.
Right.
I've been sick. I've been as sick as a dog.
Yeah, Javin
for
got
like
sick.
a fucking month. And I'm finally back. I'm finally alive.
Like
I'm
he
not
was,
dying.
he was sick during our Death of Comedy episode, which we released last week now,
Right, yeah.
and it
Now,
kind of
I just want to clarify it wasn't COVID. I made extra, double, super extra sure. I took like 3 tests
Right.
to make sure it wasn't COVID because I
Right.
got multiple sicknesses. But I'm good now. I'm for sure good. I got some medication, and now we're back in, not at the time of recording, but essentially February,
right.
and
And-
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna be talking about relationship stuff mostly this month. We thought we should talk about this because Valentine's Day is coming up, and so today's topic, though, branching off that, is gonna be about. Well, if you read the title, it's called "In Defense of Cheating," and I think we all have our different views on cheating and whatnot.
yeah, we do.
And so yeah, we're gonna go into that, and we have our friend Marissa. You guys know her by now.
Scarlet Senpai.
The reason why we decided to have her on for this particular topic is because she has different views on this than most people. And so I kind of want to have her go into her own personal relationship and how she kind of wants to, talk about her views on cheating, your views on cheating. She doesn't have to go, you don't got to go in depth on your relationship if you don't want to. Just cheating in general and how you feel about it.
Yeah.
So go into it. Let's get into it.
Oh,
Let's talk about it.
Can you pose some questions first to kind
Yeah,
of get
absolutely.
that ball rolling?
So what we're essentially going to argue is in defense of cheating, should it be defended? Should it not? Should cheaters be defended? Should their actions not be considered
Right.
so wrong in society? So I guess the question I'll pose to you is, do you out the gate think cheating is wrong to do? And by cheating, well, whatever. We'll get into it. Yeah.
I think that the act of cheating is wrong, but
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 there's a but.
I feel like there should be a large amount of consideration for people who do cheat, because I don't think that if you cheat that makes you a bad person. I just think that
Right.
you were unfair to your partner. You guys made an agreement,
Right.
and you went against that agreement, and that in and of itself is wrong. You
Right.
hurt somebody. But I don't think it's as bad as society makes it seem. I think that cheaters are pretty much deemed like complete dog shit. Like if you're a cheater, you're a terrible person. And I just don't think that's true. I think why it's so common for people to cheat is because the idea of monogamy is flawed. And I think cheating or just having multiple sexual partners is pretty human. I think it's one of the most human things you can do. I don't think that it's necessarily right. Like I said, if you made an agreement and you broke it, that's wrong. But I just don't think it's that bad.
I mean, I guess if you're speaking from a scientific perspective, then I guess it wouldn't be that bad because that's how our body's designed. But I think when you start talking about monogamy and stuff, and why I think, not even just in America, but I think, when you start talking about marriage, it's between just, 2 people, and that's usually how it is. I think that religion has to do with it as well. There's a lot of different things, that tie into that, and religion is historical. I mean, it's been around. Like, there's certain things, like when it comes to marriage, which has been around for so long, it's always just 2 people, usually. I mean, yeah, there are some, other cultures that, allow you to have multiple partners, but I think, I know in our surroundings where we live, it's usually just one-on-one. So I think it's a lot deeper than what you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess, Bryson, I pose you the question. Do you think cheating is so wrong that when somebody does it, they should be considered, let's say, a bad person?
Nah, cheating doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you did a bad thing. You broke an agreement with, if that was the agreement with your partner. It doesn't make you a bad person at all. You messed up. I think you become a bad person when you're continuously doing that. That means you don't care about your partner's feelings. You're just being completely selfish. It wasn't an accident at that point. Or maybe it was, or maybe you lied and said it was, and then you kept doing it. You know, it's like once you keep repeating yourself, they're showing you something that they don't really value. Yeah.
Okay, so if we're talking about having an affair, right? Because when I say cheating, what I mean is like
I didn't say affair, but we could talk about that.
Yeah, I think that there's a distinction, right, between cheating and an affair. I think when you cheat, it's like a one-time thing. Like, damn, I fucked someone else, and that's not even accounting for alcohol. If you're adding alcohol into the situation or drugs, I think that is.
People use those as an excuse, though. You know that, right? It's common for people to be like, "I was drunk." Like,
yeah, and I think there's
you could be drunk and still know. I'm pretty sure there's.
I think you can tell when people use alcohol as an excuse. For example, if they do it multiple times, like, okay, if you know you get like that when you drink, then you need to be responsible
and don't drink
and not drink to that extent.
Right.
At least.
Well, yeah.
And so I think when it's like habitual, then that's a problem. You're being dishonest. And if you're having an affair, right, that feels more like a betrayal than just a one-time thing. If it's a one-time thing,
that's deeper.
Yeah, because it's continuous. It's deeper. It's more intimate. You're basically starting a relationship with somebody else. But I think that just the act of cheating, the act of like having sex with somebody else or being sexually attracted to someone else, that's so human. And I think like dismantling the belief system that is extremely personal, right? So like if my dude fucks another bitch, I'm not about to sit there. And I've dismantled a lot of subconscious beliefs, or I've dismantled a lot of like up here. So if my man were to fuck another bitch, I would not feel insecure. I wouldn't feel like, damn, like she had something I didn't have, or she looked, but that wouldn't be it. I'd be like, oh, okay, like you just wanted that, and that's not me. But I wouldn't take it personally, and I think that majority of people take it extremely personally. It's like, oh, you fucked her because I'm not good enough. I think that's what you were saying earlier.
I think it's easy to feel like that. It's easy to feel like that.
So, and in that sense, I do think we should destigmatize cheating. More specifically, I think
I still think cheating is bad.
It is.
I just don't think it makes you a bad person.
It is bad. I agree. I mean,
but I think we should address why, and the why is. So I'm gonna argue kind of two things here. One, that we should treat something more severely, and something where we shouldn't. The idea that somebody cheated on you because you lack something is, I think, inherently flawed and usually not true. It can be true.
Right. It's usually that person, though. The person that cheated, it's their problem.
It's their thing.
The other person.
You
selfish.
Never lack something. You're inherently valuable. All of these things. I know this sounds platitudinous, but like specifically, you could not have done something different to keep them from cheating.
Right.
If it's dishonest to who you are. And the reason they cheated wasn't because of you. It's not a cause effect. So in that sense, they're not bad for cheating on you in the sense that they were attacking you, or that it was personal, or that they wanted to make you feel less than. Right. It's not personal, and you shouldn't blame them for that specifically. However, I'm going to argue the other side here. Regardless of my own personal beliefs, don't you think there is something to be said about violating somebody's trust? I think it's less about...
It's wrong.
It's not only wrong, it's extremely destructive to a person's mental health.
Which is why people feel so hurt.
Right, exactly.
I guess Marissa would be the exception, because she said that it wouldn't bother her that much. But most people, that would definitely bother them.
Because I've done the work. You've done the cheating? I think...
What does that sound like? Because I've done the work.
Because I've done the work on my own mental health and my own security as a person. And I think majority of people don't do work. And I think majority of people are insecure. And I think majority of people don't know how to communicate. And there's a big lack of honesty, and there's a buildup to the act of cheating too. Like if your partner's always hiding their phone from you, they're fucking talking to somebody. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Oh, I like my privacy. Nah, you like talking to other people and not having to deal with the repercussions. There's a lot of things that make the situation shady. There's a lot of ways it could be destructive to other people's mental health. So I think that the biggest issue is the big lack of communication and the big lack of caring about another person's feelings. I think that all those things are super, super, super detrimental to relationships and a person's fucking mental health.
Don't you think that should be vilified though? Don't you think that somebody who literally behaved destructively towards somebody else's mental health should be looked down on? Like,
Well, aren't
wow,
they?
that's really fucked up.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, they are.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just proposing it. She's arguing we shouldn't be quite so harsh. I'm arguing
Depending,
let's see.
I think that just like in any situation, the context matters. So I think I think there are people that toy with other people because they're insecure, and I think that it is wrong. I think it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
And that should be in a sense shamed. You know, you shouldn't just
right.
willingly toy with somebody's heart just because they're willing to stick around while you figure your shit out, and so you disregard their feelings and you talk to other people and you fuck other people. I do think that's wrong. But
People do it all the time too.
I think the appropriate way, I think that if we dismantle this idea of monogamy being the dominant type of relationship, that some of this stigma around cheating, why am I going like this? This is me dismantling. This is
That's
me
her
dismantling
dismantling, yeah.
monogamy. If we dismantle the idea of monogamy, then by a lot, then the stigma behind cheating will be less demonized. But again, it depends on the circumstance.
For sure. Okay, so let's maybe simplify it then.
Wait, hold
what do you-
up. I
yeah,
want to
go
know
for
your
it.
personal views on cheating, Javin, or just relationships, kind of in general.
So
Explain yourself.
okay, guys.
Let's get into it.
I'm a lot like Marissa in the sense that I'm highly skeptical of monogamy.
Okay.
However, I do think that an intrinsic need that humans have is trust. I think everyone needs a sense of trust, and to tamper or shatter that trust, I think breeds insecurity. I don't think that makes you an insecure person to distrust somebody when they're behaving in an untrustworthy manner. Now, if everyone you've been with behaves in an untrustworthy manner, maybe there's a common denominator and maybe it's you. But you should it's complexity and every situation is different. But what I will say is that agreements matter to a relationship.
Right.
And that agreement can look like anything, whether it's with multiple people, whether it's with two people, it doesn't really matter, but agreements are agreements. And when there's that bond of mutual assurance and somebody behaves in a way that makes you feel like that could be violated, I think it's normal to behave insecurely. Is it normal to act destructively? Is it normal to start antagonizing the other person because you distrust them? I don't think so, and you should probably communicate more openly. So let's simplify this. I think cheating is a violation of that agreement, whatever that looks like. I think if you talking to somebody else in a flirtatious way, even if that in and of itself is harmless, let's talk about this. This is something that's a whole other debate.
Let's talk about flirting.
But if you had an agreement, regardless of how naive or immature that agreement was, I think when you agree to something and it's violated, I think that's kind of fucked up and a violation.
I think
trust.
the same thing. Me personally, though, I'm on the monogamy side of things. I'm with just the one-on-one thing. But yeah, agreements are very important. What are you going to say, Marissa?
I think there are two things that are very topic and actually contribute to cheating, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it or think about it. One is taking complete ownership of your partner. I see this toxic shit all over the fucking internet. Like when I see my man talking to another woman and it's this bitch fucking tripping, or I see like men don't want their women socializing with that whole you are mine and you are not allowed to socialize with any other person of the opposite sex because that's so fucking toxic. And I think it contributes to cheating and dishonesty and insecurity and trust. And also, I think we need to dismantle, it's my favorite word today, the demonization, I like that word today too, of flirting. People fucking lose it over the idea of their partner flirting with another human.
I kind of get it.
Get what?
Bryce, I want to hear what Bryce said.
I wanted to go back, hold up, to the first thing you mentioned, the ownership part.
Ownership,
because I remember, was it Dr. Phil one of those TV shows, the one where like
Sure.
people go on the show and they go crazy. Oh my God, he was my dad or something.
Yeah.
Like he had the kid. Like it was I forget his
Maury.
name, but yeah, him. I remember watching. There was this episode on this relationship where this woman's man was so controlling. He literally controlled her everything.
Yep.
And she didn't like it. Well, she said she didn't like it. But they were just asking her on the show, like, why don't you just leave? She's like, I just can't. I won't leave him. I want to be with him. And I was just like, what? He literally controlled everything about her. Like when she ate, when she went to a grown ass woman at that. Like, it's just weird.
Well,
And I just find it so interesting that women will still be in these relationships with these over dominant men. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, men and women. Men often find themselves in highly controlling relationships with
Right.
women too.
Right.
I think that that's the way
I
toxic
think
relationships
that's
go.
normalized. I think society
That ain't
normalized.
normal.
I think no, it's not normal.
That is not
but
normal.
I think
That
it's
is-
normalized.
I don't
think
listen. Excuse the
hold
car, because again,
We're in a
out of-
garage.
Yeah.
Studio.
What was I gonna say?
Studio garage.
It ain't even normal. Like I would not even want to be like that with someone. That's
Yeah, but
too
I
much.
think
Like,
more
why do you even
times
want to
than-
control that much about a person?
So I think people demonize cheating more than they demonize those toxic relationships. I think society demonizes cheating more than they demonize their toxic relationship. Like if a woman were to cheat on a man who was like that, it'd be like, well, you should have just left. You never should have brought yourself to that situation. You should have just left. You're wrong because you cheated. Even though the way when you're with somebody and you mold your identity around that person, the hardest thing to do in your
you
life
shouldn't
is
do
to
that.
leave them. And a lot of people grow up with toxic, like I grew up actually only seeing toxic relationships, abusive, toxic relationships. And that's a lot of people. My first relationship was toxic because that's all I grew up seeing. And I had to do the work on myself to realize that who I'm going to be and who I'm going to be with. But that doesn't, for a lot of people, that just doesn't happen. And they end up settling with the toxicity.
Okay, so back to the flirting point you made. What were you saying again?
Oh, yeah. Stop fucking tripping about your partner flirting. I think that flirting is extremely innocent. It's a compliment, and
That one's like stepping on glass. That's kind of,
because if I like,
What do you
Don't
think,
agree.
Jay?
if I'm talking to somebody,
So you don't agree? That's where I'm at. That's like, bro, like if I'm
The
with
men don't agree.
my partner and she's legit flirting.
What?
If my partner is legit flirting with somebody else, I mean, you kind of have to know. Okay, I think it depends on how long.
But like, I think
Okay,
flirting
so-
is like flirt. Like,
Listen, I know a family, and this couple is married, and his wife is a very flirtatious woman. But that's just who she is. She doesn't ever cheat. Like I know this. I know them well enough to know that she hasn't done that. But that's how she is. She's a flirtatious. I think it depends on the person you're with. If you know that that's just how. Like some people are more touchy than others. You know, I think it just depends on the person. But if you're like kind of if you're with someone who normally isn't like that, and you see that they're being more comfortable with a particular person, then you know something. Okay, what's this about?
That's just chemistry. When you see,
Oh, what's that?
That is bizarre.
Do you hear that?
yeah, I hear it.
Okay, it's fine now.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah,
weird. Anyway.
I don't know if you guys heard that in the mic, but our mic's just like tripped out.
Yeah, but that's just chemistry. When we're talking about flirting,
Yeah, is
we're
it just
talking
chemistry
about
when
a
this person's
similar
dick ends up in,
is
like,
that flirting,
come on
Bryson?
now, bro.
Is that flirting, Bryson?
Where does flirting
Well,
lead?
that's the
Where does
thing.
flirting
That's
lead
the
to?
thing.
Where does flirting lead
That's
to?
a
Especially when you put
misconception.
alcohol.
That's a misconception.
Especially when you put alcohol.
That's
No,
a
it's not a
misconception.
misconception. It
I
happens all
flirt
the
with
time.
people on a
Alright, hold
daily
on.
basis. I think that there are levels.
This is obviously something we feel very strongly about.
Yo, flirting is okay. Does flirting not lead to sex?
No.
Okay, so here's
Who are you?
You see me literally all
You're
the-
one person
dude,
in this world. There's
but
more
you just
people.
said that your
You're-
friend's
Hold on.
wife flirts and she
They're
doesn't
also.
fuck.
Hold on.
I'm not gonna base it off just a couple and then
I
you.
think majority
Let's
of the
dial
time
it
flirting
back.
doesn't lead to sex.
Let's dial it
Okay.
back. So
She sounds crazy.
Here's what the science says. Okay. This is actually one of the cases where it is different between men and women, pretty universally. Men often, when I say universally, I mean in America, but men oftentimes associate flirting with sex and sexual advances. And so when men flirt, they do actually expect it to lead to something sexual. But most of the time when women flirt, it is functional and purely playful. They don't actually want it or expect it to lead to sex. Now, you can argue that that's naive, and in fact, a lot of women do understand that men expect it to lead to sex. But when women flirt, that isn't their mentality. That's not where they oftentimes want it to go. They kind of want it to move more towards a playful extent. Now, with that in mind, now I don't actually agree that we should be all hands off with the flirting. I think flirting is, like what Bryson said, pretty complicated. It's more specifically depending on the individual. For example, I'm a very open and touchy person.
He is.
I am, but it's not predatory. It's not like I'm not trying to get into people's pants when I am. I'm pretty open that way, and I don't. Okay, interesting. Sounds.
I think it's very interesting that I think it makes.
What are you saying right now? What are you saying?
I think it makes complete sense that men have expectations with flirting and women don't. If you look at the history.
Well, listen, flirting and alcohol leads to sex.
Not
For
true.
you, Bryson.
That's actually completely not true.
I've lived it.
I've lived the opposite.
See,
I drink
like I said, we
often
live in
and
different lives.
I drink often and I flirt often and I haven't got fucked by anybody other than my man in
I'm gonna tell Jamal.
4 years.
I
Go ahead and tell him.
I can't
Tell
believe
him.
This is actually.
What's up, John?
I've
It's
lived
amazing
it.
to me.
I've lived it. I like flirting.
So we've lived
and
two different lives.
Chemistry. I like having chemistry with other
So
individuals.
actually, I think it's really good that our conversation went here. Let's spend the remaining time.
Okay.
So we were talking about cheating and vilifying it, and I think we all
yes.
kind of agree that cheating is dependent on the situation. And instead of persecuting somebody who cheated based off of what they did to their partner, we should rather address what they were going through and try to understand why they did it. Does that make it right? No. And in fact, the reason it was wrong is because they were inconsiderate towards their partner's feelings instead of antagonistic towards them. Now, with this in mind, what we're now talking about is behaviors that we think might lead to cheating and what violates those agreements. So flirting, I think this is interesting.
Depends the person.
People's attitude towards their partner's flirting, I think, determines how they feel about cheating.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
So for me, my partner and I have to talk about flirting before it happens. And if it happens, I would be hurt, not because that I care about what they wanted from the other person or, oh man, they don't want me. It's more that, wow, I wish we had come to an agreement before you did something like that. That seems pretty inconsiderate towards how I feel. If we had, and it's like, oh, I'm going to flirt with dudes and here's what I expect and here's where I expect it to lead. Is that okay with you? Are we in agreement? And I say, oh, for sure. And they do. If I feel hurt by that, that's on me. I don't think that's cheating. It would be ridiculous for that to be cheating.
Especially since you agree to it.
I agree to it, right?
Just, yeah.
So,
But
go for
like,
it.
what do you guys think flirting is? Because when I think of
Just
flirting, I
flirting.
think exactly that's like everyone's. It's just flirting, but
I
like
think
Well, no, what I'm saying when you say
chemistry.
I'm talking
It's
about, like,
chemistry between you and another person.
I think it's anything that cultivates
really
intimacy.
really close chemistry.
I don't think it has to be really close. I think just
That's what
like a
flirting
vibe,
is.
right? When you meet someone and you guys are vibing and you're talking and you're getting along.
Because you can vibe with people. Say, for example, when we had our two friends over here, we had Nadia and Yo.
Yeah.
That's chemistry. Our conversation was chemistry. We liked having them around and they liked being here. But there wasn't any flirting involved.
Yeah, but if them who are in a relationship saw me talking to any other, they could have said that we were flirting because we were having a good
They
conversation.
couldn't have said that.
Yes, they could
And now you're just
But
making up
that's-
stuff because that didn't happen.
That
So
didn't happen.
now we're
I'm
hypothetically
saying,
speaking.
No.
I'm speaking from facts and you're
I didn't say
not.
that happened. What
Just
I
saying.
said
Wow.
was that
Just
I've been
saying.
in a situation where I'm having a conversation
right.
with someone and their partner says we're flirting when we're literally just talking.
All
It's
right.
all based on perception.
All right, let's
Sometimes talking is flirting.
I heard
let's
you, Marissa.
tone it down.
Bryce is testing me.
This is clearly something we feel very strongly about. So,
It's gaslighting.
I actually
No,
no.
I really feel like you just made up a whole
I
scenario
didn't.
in your head.
Said,
You literally
no, I
made
didn't.
it up.
I've told you that I've been in situations
Okay,
where that has
okay.
happened. Most of the time
That's
when
funny.
people say they're flirting, it's just two people talking who are vibing. And then you feel like they're flirting. You feel like there's something there, but you're putting your perception of what's going
there's
on
levels to
between
it because
them.
you kind of know when
There
someone's
are
flirting.
levels to
All right,
it,
all right,
but
all
that's your perception of their interaction.
So
That's
we're-
why I'm saying that. Like,
Okay.
We're out of time.
All right. All right.
But let
part
me
two.
honestly. I actually think we kind of broke it down to where the controversy lies. And the controversy doesn't lie in somebody doing something. We all agree that violating somebody's trust is painful, but we also agree that cheating usually doesn't have anything to do with the other person. It has to do with inconsideration and it has to do with a whole bunch of stuff. But I think at the heart of it, what we worry about is, what is my partner doing over there? And I think your answer to that question, how you feel about what they're doing over there with somebody else, I think the answer that you have determines what you feel cheating is. Now, I think the healthiest response you can have to that feeling is acknowledging that your partner's a human being with independent thoughts and feelings. And while your feelings matter, you should talk to them about that. Because if they're flirting over there and you feel some kind of way about it, you have to... These three people had wildly different responses to the idea of our partner cheating. So maybe your partner does too, and you should talk to them about it. But tell us what you think. Genuinely, like, this seems to
or
be
you
a
can just
pretty
go subscribe to Sam Booty.
Yeah. So honestly, she's got it. She's talked
She's
about
got
this
it
way better than
down.
we
Yeah,
have.
she has degrees and she went to school about
My
it.
role model.
Anyways,
Sexologist.
thank you for stopping by, and we will see us in part 2, hopefully, if you want to watch us again.
Tell us what your definition of cheating is. I want to see what you guys think
feel
about it. Yeah.
And your definition of flirting, because I'm actually really fascinated with everybody's different ideas of what they think flirting is.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, let us know. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.